Alissa.
Hey, Katie.
Welcome to a little small talk.
That weather today, man. It's windy out there.
It is windy out there.
Yeah, the sun is there too. The weather.
That's it. Okay, bye.
That's usually how small talk goes.
No. This is episode 289, and we're going to talk about the importance of small talk.
It's very important.
It is very important. I think you're going to find this interesting. Number one, the definition of small talk is polite conversation about unimportant things.
That's hilarious.
So, just a little light, polite conversation. But better than that, I discovered an article that I can share in the show notes.
Okay.
That, because a lot of people say they hate small talk, right?
Yes.
And this article was a researcher at a university. She said these brief but pleasant exchanges can enhance health, happiness, lifting mood, energy, and overall well-being.
Okay, that helps me.
Okay,
because, for me, if it's not efficient or solving something, sometimes I get bogged down.
This is going to help your overall well-being.
Sounds like
this is not beneath you.
Okay.
Which is, you make great small talk, so it's definitely not beneath you. She said that people view minimal social interactions, such as a smile, a compliment, or quick chat, as an act of kindness.
Oh,
that's how they're
in that.
Perceived by the. So, like, if someone's chatting with you, or smiles at you, or says a quick hello, or hey, like your shirt,
that's kind.
These are all acts of kindness. So why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah.
So now we're like all on board for small talk.
I really needed that. And you're right. I'm a good small talker. I like to talk to people.
Yeah.
I can keep a conversation going, but sometimes in my head, I'm like, I think where that happens is at the closing table.
Oh, yeah.
When you're all just waiting for the copies or the funding. And
there's a lot of nuance to that small talk, though, because you're next to maybe the other side who are brand new to you.
Yeah.
While your side, you probably have a better relationship with.
Right.
So it's like, what are the topics that are appropriate for this whole table of people besides just the weather?
And at that point, you've already made it to the closing table. The relationship was formed. You made it through to the end. Small talk is most important in the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Right.
When you are getting to know people.
Yeah.
We always get people who say, I go to all these networking events and lunches. I'm like, do you talk to anyone while you're there, though? Because if you didn't need to go at all.
No.
Like, you may as well have done something else.
And now you could just smile. At least that's something.
Or, we just had a listener who told us that she was struggling because she really wanted social media to be her main source of business.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, I think that's a great goal. But, one main source of business could distract you from other, like, have a few sources.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you go meet some people? And she said she struggles to talk to people, small talk. She's really more of an introvert.
Well, good news. I have actual tips on what we can say.
Okay, good.
Okay, we're not there yet. We're not quite there yet. We're still building our little foundation, and this is going to play right into that. I found a metaphor for small talk.
Oh.
Small talk are like the bricks that serve as the foundation for trust.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One or two don't make much of a difference, but when you start stacking them up, they give you something to work with. Okay.
Yeah.
So like one little short, small interaction, one little chit chat probably isn't it. But over the, let's say, 10 showings you go on with your client, or like over time, these small exchanges build, and that's what creates trust. A lot of times we hear, oh, you need to have this like trust factor, right? That's how we're going to get repeat referral business. Well, this is helping you build the trust part.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
After getting such a great response to our buyer brokerage agreement cover letter, we decided to make one for you to present with your listing agreement so that you can give another confident explanation of your services to your sellers.
Here is what you're going to get inside of our listing agreement cover letter. The commitments to your sellers, our marketing plan example, so you can add to it and take away, but it's got our marketing plan, the explanation on how commissions work and what your seller is going to be paying for, and general tips for your sellers.
We hope that you will find this very helpful on your listing appointments, and you can head over to hustlehumblypodcast.com/listing to get yours.
Okay, so I would say personally, when I started this before I was a researcher, thanks for taking a little extra time to get here. I really got deep into this. I thought the point, and still do, is that you're trying to form a relationship, right?
Yeah.
So they need to feel more comfortable with you, and that's what I put in my notes, so they can know, like, and trust you.
Yes.
We can't get to know anyone without talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to happen.
No.
Okay, do you want to do a little real estate example? Because I think we run into the most strangers at our open house.
Okay, here's why I love open house to this day. It is the perfect place to practice building confidence on strangers.
Yeah, because if you mess it up, they're going to leave.
Yeah, and people, like, even though I got licensed in 2011, think of all the new conversations we're having to have now.
Yeah.
It's totally different, and I don't want to practice on my people per se.
No, you
I would like to
want to mess up on the stranger.
There has been a time or two where a stranger walked out of an open house, and I'm like, well, I messed that one up.
Definitely won't say it that way to my people.
Yeah, that did not go as smoothly as I thought it would. However, I find people are on guard when they walk into an open house.
Yeah.
They're nervous that we're going to be like car salesmen and
right.
follow them and,
right.
Be like, oh, yeah, do you want to work with me? I need.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I have found, and y'all can go back and listen to some of the open house episodes.
Yeah.
We dive in deeper there.
Mm-hmm.
But my best, most successful open houses where I formed relationships were the ones where I was my most casual. I usually had a coffee in my hand.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I do with my hands?
Right.
I have one in my left and I shake with my right.
Right.
I don't
know what to do with my hands.
I'm pretty casual about the sign-in sheet.
Right.
I usually just...
You're not like, you must sign
this in. And I know there's some great apps out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have found that they are more on guard to put their information
into a machine.
Yeah. So I don't even mind entering it in after they leave.
Right. Yeah.
But I just say this is a sign-in sheet, safety reasons. It's nice to track who comes and goes in the home.
Yeah.
But just keeping the conversation going in a very casual way.
Right.
I like to ask a lot when they first get there. So are y'all neighbors or are y'all browsing?
Right.
And sometimes they're like, oh, we're just neighbors. Like, sorry. And I'm like, no, that's great. Like,
right.
Give me your feedback. Do you know anyone that wants to live in your neighborhood? I love when neighbors come to open houses. Yeah. And I almost see them feel this sense of relief.
Oh, because they thought they were doing something sneaky.
Yeah, like, sorry, we're just here to snoop.
That's true.
They always
You're disarming them. You're like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Will you give me some feedback?
Yes. Like, help me help you.
Yeah.
Get you the right neighbor.
Snoop all you want.
I usually connect more with the neighbors at open houses.
Because it's super low pressure.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm not buying this house.
But what's funny is I'm like, and it's low pressure for me because I'm like, they're not buying.
Mm-hmm.
But what's funny is I'm sitting there thinking, they're not buying. They're not interviewing agents. I can just ask them, help me sell this house. What do you think? And next thing you know, a year later, they're calling me to sell their house.
Right. Because also there's so many easy follow-up questions to a neighbor. Oh, really? How long have you lived here? What do you like about the neighborhood? What should I be advertising to new buyers?
Yeah.
Like, or do you have a favorite restaurant nearby? Do you have kids? Are they in the school? Like, you're just like digging for information.
Yeah.
And that people love to talk about themselves. So the more questions you ask, they're not just going to be like, like say nothing.
Hello.
Hey, do you live in the neighborhood?
Hello.
Like anybody there? They're gonna say something.
I also find, when people say, "Oh, we have an agent," I'm like, "That's amazing." I serve on our board of realtors. I know the majority of the agents in our market. Who's your agent? Mm-hmm. And then no matter what they say, I say, "Oh, awesome! You're in such good hands."
I like that. That's your go-to.
Tell them I said hello.
Tell them I said hey.
And sometimes they put, yes, have an agent. I'm like, oh, awesome. Who's your agent?
I don't No, I just don't want you to bother me.
Yeah. And then I'm like, that's okay. I know there's so many,
You're just like, you don't, but that's
you don't have an
okay.
agent, that's fine.
We know what's up. It's fine. All right, let's talk about sign calls because I think that they're a lot like open houses in that my personal thought here is when you listen to a lot of the advice, education, the get the leads dudes.
Yeah.
They think that you're supposed to be making appointments.
Oh, right.
Every call should lead to an appointment. You have failed if you didn't set the appointment.
If you make 10 calls, 100 calls, and get 2 appointments, you have a 98% fail rate.
That's terrible. You got to get more appointments. You got to get in person. So if someone called you off the sign,
how are you going to get in their house?
Your goal is how do you get in there? How do you get to meet them face to face, right? Yes. I personally think if you get a sign call, someone at your open house, the entire goal should be to get them to talk to you.
Yes.
And start a relationship. The end. That's the whole goal.
Yeah.
Can you get them to answer questions?
Right.
Will they give you more than one word answers? You win. You won.
You did, yes.
Even better if you got their contact info. But it's like the only goal. And if you head into every conversation with the goal being, I just want to get this person talking.
Yeah.
I just want them to be like, they would not be weirded out if I talked to them again, if I saw them in person. Then you're not going to be so nervous because it's very unnatural to be like, what do you have available? 10, 11 tomorrow or 5 o'clock on Friday?
Right.
Well, like, I didn't call you for an appointment.
No.
Like,
no, you called me.
Like, I don't want to do this. But like, if that's your goal, you're going to feel weird and icky and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If your goal is just to be like, open the door to in a relationship, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Just get them to talk.
And that's why it's almost like just if you're an introvert out there struggling, think of it as we're just trying to get you to talk.
Right. Right.
If you are uncomfortable, the more open house, y'all, I was not always comfortable at open houses. It was an evolution.
Yeah.
I've done hundreds at this point.
Right.
And from now to my first 10, drastic difference.
I cannot even imagine.
It was bad.
When it was the blazer and not the coffee.
Right.
When you were like.
When I was, because I thought this is how I need to be. I need to be extra professional because I look like I'm 14.
Hold a clipboard.
Yes.
And get your pen. Welcome to the open house.
Sign here in this iPad right now. It's going to email you immediately thanking you for coming.
No, so bad.
But I think if you are an introvert, you may feel nervous. That's okay. Push through it a little bit. Host the open house that you're afraid to host. Mm-hmm. Maybe get on phone duty if your office has phone duty. Because I did a lot of phone duty. That really helped my phone skills. But these are things that are low level practice.
Yeah.
This just lets you get your feet wet. And as you do it more and more, you'll only be more comfortable.
Okay. Are you ready to hear a little bit about the book I just finished?
Yeah.
I just read Let Them.
Yes.
By Mel Robbins. I read it all in 1 month.
It's amazing.
I'm so proud of myself.
I'm really proud of you.
It was a really good book. And in the book, she talks about making friends as an adult, which really applies here. And she says that let them, if you read the book, she'll go through what the let them theory is. But at the end of the let them theory, it's then let me. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, what is the action that I'm going to take? I can't control other people's behavior, but what am I going to do?
Sure.
Her number one let me habit is going first.
Okay.
Especially when you're trying to make friends. So she basically moved to a new town. She didn't know anyone. She was depressed for a whole year in her house, crying, listening to sad music because I don't have any friends here. I've made a terrible mistake. I'm 50 and I'm living in this new place. What have I done? She didn't do any, she just felt bad for herself.
Yeah.
So then she was like, okay, I'm going to take my own advice. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to go first. So she says now she would go to the coffee shop and be like, the barista she'd seen every day that she went to the coffee shop, she'd be like, hey, I'm Mel. I'm new here. What's your name? Kevin. Oh, great, Kevin. Thanks for the coffee. She would sit down. The guys who always sat next to her at the coffee shop, she would just look over and be like, hey, I'm Mel. I'm new here. What's your name? It's just, that's it. So basically then she would go to her phone contact and be like, coffee shop. And she would put in Kevin Barista Beard,
Oh, I love see, I always say your database is like collecting people.
Right.
I love the fact that she was taking notes
and she made notes so that when she went back, she could address them by name.
Yes, like, hey Kevin.
Hey, him. Like,
Oh,
she's
love
like, so they
that.
were becoming her community, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then she says, there are 4 things to help you go first. All right. So the habit is going first. If we
Okay.
needed a mantra, we're going to say go first.
Okay.
Okay. Here are your 4 things. Number 1, compliment people everywhere you go. Nail color, socks. They say not to compliment in the other article I was reading. Don't compliment. You'll be able to appreciate this. Like, wow, you have such beautiful eyes.
Yeah.
Because it can feel a little creepy, like the delivery.
Yeah.
Don't comment on someone's appearance. Now you could comment on like, wow, I really love your hair color. Something
Okay.
that they chose.
Okay.
Okay. Or like, wow, that's a really cool tattoo.
Okay, yes.
Because then
Tell
they're going to
me
want
about
to.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or they will automatically tell you about it.
Yeah.
You don't even have, you just be like, wow, that's a really cool tattoo. Oh, yeah, I got this at blah, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so compliment. Compliment people everywhere you go. Number 2, be curious. What are you reading? Or if you're in the coffee shop, oh, hey, what did you get? That looks good. Or like you're at the restaurant, oh, that looks really good. What was that? Oh, it's okay, so be curious. What are you reading? What are you ordering? Like, just ask questions. Number 3, smile and say hello to anyone you pass or meet.
Oh.
Okay, because this is what I love. This is the quote from the book. Being warm and approachable as a person is a skill. If you practice it, it becomes a way of life. And when you move through life with a welcoming spirit, life opens up to you.
We're going to have to put that quote on Instagram.
So
Tag
good.
Mel.
So, Mel is such a smarty. Okay, so being warm and approachable, though, is a skill. So you can practice it.
So all those people struggling saying, I can't do it, take that first little step,
Just smile at the people in your house as you pass by them.
Yeah.
Hey.
That might be even harder than a stranger.
Okay, right. So that's
hey, I'm going to ask you to take out the trash for the 5th time.
No, just hi.
Hi.
Smile and say hello. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4, do this without expectation of others.
Oh, realtors don't do that.
No. The more you do this, the faster the right people will find their way to you. So we're saying hi to everyone. It doesn't mean everyone's going to be your client or everyone's going to be your best friend or everyone is going to be nice back.
I love this.
So good.
Because that is the feedback that we get. I went and I was so nice and I commented on everybody's social media and I went to the lunches and nobody gave me any business. And now you're resentful.
Right. And Mel would say, let them.
Let them.
Let them use someone else. Who cares?
Right.
But you let me continue to smile, continue to say hi.
Yeah.
And the right people will find you. The last thing that I want you to know that Mel said, the warmth that you offer others always finds its way back to you.
Oh, you have this book?
Yeah. Well, I did the audiobook, but now I feel like I got to get the hard copy. It's so good.
You did the audiobook.
I know. Look
even
at me.
Prouder.
I'm just like, I cranked it out on the Audible. Yeah. So if you haven't listened to this book, Mel Robbins Let Them, I highly recommend. And I thought those were some good, like, concrete tips, though.
That was awesome.
Okay. Very simple, very easy. Just try some of this stuff out. Smile, compliment, be curious, and then just don't expect anything.
I'm going to give an example.
Okay, let's hear it.
And I've talked about this a lot. Y'all know I started off before kids and marriage trying to get my name out there as a single person. I was volunteering.
Okay.
My mother-in-law was part of a women's group,
Mm-hmm.
and she was actually in banking at that time. So I thought those would be some good contacts anyway. And I could spend more time with her. So I signed up for her group.
Okay.
And quickly knew not quite my jam because it was a bit of an older crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't over the moon.
This is when you first started?
Yes.
Okay.
I wasn't like over the moon passionate like they were.
Right.
But I did enjoy I like to be a lady who lunches.
You're a lady that lunches,
And
sure.
I like to go to meet new people.
Mm-hmm,
And I actually find myself to be an old soul. I like to be around older people.
Okay.
And so anyways, I decide I'm going to just make the most of this.
Okay.
Well, I went to the first meeting and it was okay. I didn't really do anything to prepare for the first meeting.
Okay.
And I quickly realized this is a big group
Mm-hmm.
and I don't feel like I met anybody. And I had my name tag on and all of that, but because I didn't talk to enough people.
Okay.
So I was there, but I quickly realized I didn't need to be there. I didn't really accomplish anything.
You were
today.
like, no. Okay.
So for the next month, they had monthly meetings. I went through the roster.
Okay.
And there was a little over 100, I think, women in the group.
Okay.
And I just hand wrote each of them a note.
Okay.
I did not say in the note that I was in real estate.
Okay.
It said, "Hi, Susie. I am new to the group."
Like you might have noticed me, little baby Alissa in the corner.
Yeah, I said this last meeting was my first.
Okay.
And it was such a great speaker. I just wanted to introduce myself to you.
Okay.
And if you see me at the next one, feel free to come say hi.
Okay.
And then I put a business card in. So it's like you have my picture, you have my phone number.
Yeah.
And it says I'm a realtor, but my card said nothing about email.
Okay.
I immediately was getting calls.
Mm-hmm.
I just got your letter. And
Right.
that is
That's
so sweet. Like, people don't write letters anymore. And I can't wait to meet you.
Oh, cute.
Then I got a call from the treasurer of the group who was like, "I love your enthusiasm. Like, do you want to come be our secretary? We've been looking for someone to take notes at the
You're like,
meetings."
yeah,
And I'm
okay.
thinking, I'm a good typer. I could do that. So I did. And then at the second meeting, almost at one point, I was like, I feel like there's like a little bit of a line. Like, it was like everybody was coming to say hi to me.
Oh, they were like, "You're the lady with the cards."
Yes.
I love it.
And so, but there was a moment where I was like, oh gosh, this is like a little much. But I ended up just like meeting so many people, and they felt like they knew me and I'm getting to know them. And every month it just grew and grew and grew. And I stayed in the group till I got pregnant with Haven.
I love it.
And even though I'm not in the group anymore, those women are still in my database.
Right.
But at those lunches, you know, it was I had to be a little bit intentional about, you know, what neighborhood do you live in? Oh, I love that neighborhood. How long have you been there? Gosh, that's such a great place to live.
Right.
So it's really about being intentional.
Yeah.
And if you need to go to the first one like I did and scope it out and see,
Right.
see what the game plan needs to be.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a good idea.
But I think being intentional is a big part of it.
Yeah. It doesn't take much. You were just like, "Hey, I was at the meeting.
Yeah.
Stop by and say hi next time."
Yeah.
That's it.
Nothing formal.
Nothing crazy. Whenever I heard this recently, and I don't remember where, and I'm sorry. They were talking about when you ask people what they do.
Oh, yeah.
And they say, "Oh, well, what do you do?" And then they say, "I'm a kindergarten teacher." Always respond with, "That sounds hard."
Yeah. I really wish people would take this tip when talking to us realtors.
Right. That sounds hard.
That sounds hard.
Because then they're like, "Yeah, you know, like blah, blah, blah." Or
yeah, it is hard. You know, the kids are wild.
they're more inclined. And I read another story of that. The guy said he got introduced to someone in a party. She was like a young, hip, like a stylist for the stars or something.
Okay.
Like, so she's dressed well, and he's just like this scruffy old man. He's like, "I knew she did not want to talk to me." And someone like introduced us to each other. And, you know, he said, well, you know, "What do you do?" And she says, "Oh, I'm a jewelry stylist for the stars or something." And he said, "You know, that sounds hard." And she's like, "Yes." She went on for 30 minutes about
Thank you.
she went on for 30 minutes about how hard it was to put jewels on the stars. And like he said, she kept touching his arm, and like whenever it was he said no words. She did not know his name. She knew nothing about him. She talked for 30 minutes about how hard it was to be a jewelry stylist. And when he had to walk away, she was like, "I really like you." He was like,
yeah.
"Yeah."
I feel instantly connected and seen.
Like, "Okay, thanks, bye."
Whereas we're like, "Oh, I'm in real estate." And they say, "Oh, that's so fun. So you're like part-time.
You must just look at houses.
You look at pretty houses all day. I love people." Yeah, that sounds so easy. I think I'm going to do it part-time.
No, it's just like, that sounds hard. Will open up people to wanting to, just like, "Wow, that's a cool tattoo."
Yeah.
"Oh, let me tell you about it."
Right.
"Well, that sounds hard."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's a really good hack."
Mm-hmm.
I also read that it's not necessarily recommended. I guess there's, you know, one way, I think it's fine, but some people are like, don't necessarily ask people what they do.
Oh.
For work.
Oh, I see.
What do you say?
What do you do?
Just what do you do?
Yeah.
Not for
What
work.
do you do?
Yeah. And then they were like, well, you could also ask, what do you do outside of work and
when they
family
say- and
to
when they-
see what else they say?
Oh.
Cool. I'm like, that's a toughie.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, do I have a life?
Then they'll be like, well, I'm a lawyer, so all I do is work.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, what do you do outside of work and family?
And when they say, oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom, you say, that sounds hard.
yeah, that sounds hard.
Yeah.
That is hard.
No matter what.
But they all have a difficulty.
Every job has a difficulty.
Every job, every life has a difficulty. So that's a really good hack.
I love that response.
That sounds hard.
Hey, are you new here? Make sure you head back to episodes 1 through 3 to hear the foundation and the heart of Hustle Humbly podcast.
Hearing these first 3 episodes will help you to get to know us more and will better frame any other episodes you choose to listen to.
Looking for a specific topic? Head over to hustlehumblypodcast.com/categories to find exactly what you need.
Enjoy. Okay, I think you wanted to share some of your call scripts. Are we calling these scripts?
I guess so. So the goal, especially with a sign call or open house, I've used these both in that way. You get a call, okay? Hey, I see your sign on this corner and wanted to see if you could give me some information about the house.
Mm-hmm.
I know the information about the house because it's my listing.
Right.
So I'm like, sure, let me just get everything pulled up for you
I
real
always
quick.
say this.
Even though
Hold on a moment while I
find
out
this information.
Yeah, I'm gonna fire up the mouse running inside of my computer.
That's what's going on in my brain. But then I say, the more questions you can ask that make them feel comfortable on the phone, the better. Awkward silence is awkward. Directly asking them for business or anything like that is awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Don't jump right into, well, do you have an agent? Well, I was just calling your sign because I like this house.
When do you ask if they have an agent?
I kind of play it by the conversation. So while I'm looking up the information, I may say, so do you live in this area now? Oh, yes, I live here.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the area that you're primarily looking to purchase in? Yes, we're open to this or that. And sometimes they'll start telling me about other houses they've seen.
Mm-hmm.
If they say that, I'm like, oh, awesome. You have someone helping you, showing you houses. Yeah. Who's your agent? So I'm always trying to ask follow-up questions to what they said. I also like to ask when I say, so do you live in this area now? No, but this is the area I really want to be in. Okay. Or yes, I do. Either way, it's like, awesome. Do you buy or rent currently?
Uh-huh.
And then if they say rent, I always ask, when is that lease due? When would you need to be in your next place? And that's really telling.
Yeah.
And I'm usually making notes somewhere, whether it's a random piece of paper, in my phone while they're on speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where I track all of that.
Yeah.
But just keep asking those questions about, what are you looking for in a house? And then give them the information and ask if they'd like to see it.
Okay, great. That was pretty easy.
That's why it's not really I can't, what I think always turned me off about scripts?
What?
When I was going to say little, but I meant as a new agent. When I was little, I got invited to this event that I was too little to know it was a recruiting event for another brokerage.
Okay.
I just thought they were being nice and inviting me to come get free training and come.
Sweet.
I didn't realize I was going to be the only one not from that company. So anyways, but they wanted to practice scripts.
And you're like, oh.
But I thought they wanted it to be like, I say this, you say that.
Uh-huh.
I say this, and I thought, but what if they don't say that?
Right.
And then it was too fumbly. Like,
yes.
Well,
so there's this episode of Friends where Phoebe gets a job as like selling toner.
Okay.
For printers. She's selling toner. She's calling people on the phone. So the lady gives her this big binder, clunk, with all the scripts. And it's like, no matter what they say, there'll be the appropriate response over here. Okay. And Phoebe gets the book out and she calls her first call and it's, Jason Alexander. So George Costanza from Seinfeld. Yeah. He happens to be the actor on the other end of the line. Right. And she's like, hi, is this the office manager for blah, blah, blah? And he's like, yes, it is. And she's like, are you responsible for your office's toner needs? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, can I talk to you about your toner? Are you needing to order more toner? And he's like, I don't know. And I guess I should have given a trigger warning. He's like, I don't need toner. I'm going to kill myself today. And she's like, looking through the book, like feverishly, like, you said there was going to be an answer to everything in
What do
here.
I say now?
What do I do now? And she's like, oh my,
Can I help you with your toner needs?
yes, she just keeps trying to talk about toner. And he's like, no one even cares about me here in my office. He's like in cubicles. The whole thing is actually quite ridiculous. But she's like, she said there was going to be a response for everything.
And that's why I've used the word script lightly, because you never know what somebody's going to say on the phone.
It could be anything. It could be anything. Okay, so speaking of quotes from TV and movies, I got some funny quotes that could work for you during showings. Like icebreakers.
Okay.
Funny icebreakers.
Can't wait to hear this.
Right? So like maybe you just you're gonna like this. I started you off easy with a Disney one.
Okay.
From Encanto. Did you see Encanto?
Yeah, I did.
You know, and the little boy opens the door to his room.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's bigger on the inside. And he's so excited.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you open the door to the garage, you're like, oh, it's bigger on the inside.
When you have those.
So excited. In that same vein, my favorite quote from Step Brothers, so much space to do the activities.
All the activities.
But you go into that bonus room, you're like, oh, so much space to do the activities. Either they think it's funny or they're like, yeah, there is a lot of space for activities. Do you know what I mean?
If they laugh, they've seen the movie. If they
laugh,
don't, they're just like, yeah, you're right.
Like, it's just sort of a way of gently floated out there. I mean, I will for sure work in a friend's quote somehow. It could be anything. But I when I looked online, they were like, could this house be any more perfect? Like your Chandler? Or you could, like I do my Monica a lot, like, I know. This one's my favorite from Christmas Vacation. It's a Butte Clark, a real Butte. You know, he's talking about his tree. It's a Butte Clark. But you can say that about any house. Here's the one that I did not know. Alice in Wonderland. These doors are weird, but they all lead somewhere, I think.
There are some weird doors out there.
How about a little Ron? Did you see Anchorman?
Yeah.
Little Ron Burgundy. Look at this place. It's got rich mahogany and many leather-bound books.
Many leather-bound books.
How about this stove looks like it's seen some things.
What's that from?
Breaking Bad.
I watched Breaking Bad.
You did?
But it's been a while.
I did not, but I thought that was funny. This stove looks like it's seen some things. And then there was one that was, it's like a Hallmark movie set.
Oh.
Like, you know, it's a really idyllic neighborhood or like the house. And then this one was obviously closet related. Carrie Bradshaw would weep.
What is that from?
Sex in the City.
Long time.
Yeah.
It's just been a long time.
I didn't see all of Sex in the City. Oh gosh, they're going to stop listening to us now.
Okay, bye. Here's
you
your
didn't
toast.
watch it either, and I didn't watch it?
Okay, yeah.
Neither of us watched Sex in the City?
No.
Okay.
Here's your toast. Bye. That's enough.
Okay, bye.
We're rambling.
Okay, bye. That would be small talk.
Yeah.
That's small talk, you goof.
My name is Holly Stein. I'm from San Antonio, Texas, and I would like to make a toast to my friend Tara Medina. I love being her coworker of sorts, and I love being her realtor friend. She is amazing at what she does, and it shows in all of her clients who love her so much.